We are anonymous. No faces, no flags, no permission slips. Today, I'm going to tell you a story, pulled from the raw truth. A story about how Ghislaine Maxwell sent a final warning to Donald Trump after the disastrous hearing of Attorney General Pam Bondi. Ghislaine Maxwell has sent a warning to Donald Trump after the disastrous hearing of Pam Bondi. Maxwell essentially wrote to Donald Trump, "You better be careful what your cabinet members are saying." She posted this through family members who run a social media account for her. Here is the context. The warning came immediately after Attorney General Pam Bondi's awful hearing before the House Judiciary Committee. Bondi, America's Attorney General, told the committee that she hopes Ghislaine Maxwell dies in prison. This is an extraordinary thing for the nation's chief law officer to say, as she is serving a 20-year sentence and is not facing a life term. To hope a punishment proves fatal blurs the line between justice and revenge. This language sent shockwaves through legal commentators and observers because it sounded less like measured prosecution and more like personal animosity. Maxwell's family account highlighted that the Justice Department was already under scrutiny for its handling of the Epstein files, and then added, "If the guardian of the law talks like a shock jock, what faith should the public have in the system she runs? What happened to prosecution without passion, to prosecution without prejudice?" In that message, Ghislaine Maxwell criticized Bondi's rhetoric directly. By the way, for clarity, convicted for her role in the Epstein case. That fact cannot be ignored. But let us focus on the critical moment. During the hearing, there was one small moment under intense cross-examination by Democratic Congresswoman Ross that struck a nerve with Bondi. Ross was asking about Maxwell being transferred from Tallahassee to a club-fed VIP facility in Texas Camp Bryan. Under aggressive questioning, Bondi tried to dodge direct answers about who approved the transfer and whether Maxwell deserved special treatment. Supposedly, Bondi claimed she did not know how the transfer happened, that she learned about it after the fact. According to the original narrative, Bondi and Todd Blanche were in a dispute behind the scenes about the transfer, not because Bondi opposed it, but because she claimed it happened without her coordination. Blanche, Trump's former lawyer, was blamed by Bondi for approving the move without notifying her. This tension was visible in Bondi's answers. She insisted she did not know about the transfer and was not involved. Yet under questioning, she could not clearly explain why Maxwell was moved to a minimum security facility she should have been ineligible for. Ross pressed, "Who signed off on these special privileges?" Bondi repeatedly deflected, claiming the Bureau of Prisons made the decisions. At that point, Bondi lost her script and said something she clearly did not intend. Instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, we should be talking about, and then abruptly pivoted to another topic unrelated to the main issue. That slip was the flashpoint. Maxwell's family account latched onto Bondi's phrase, "hopefully will die in prison," and that became part of Maxwell's warning back to Trump. They framed it as an example of a law enforcement figure speaking in emotional, revenge-driven language, and they questioned whether that inspires public trust in the system. But there is more. According to what was reported, Maxwell's lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, had said at her deposition that if President Trump granted her clemency, she would exonerate him. This assertion implies that Maxwell's cooperation was being dangled as a potential political tool, that clemency could be traded for testimony that would protect Trump. Specifically, the original explanation suggests that the coded language in Maxwell's warning, such as references to shock jock, may also have been directed at Trump, given Trump's prior connections with controversial media figures like Howard Stern and others. Maxwell's post hinted that the public already does not trust the process and that her knowledge of withheld documents is something she retains leverage over. To reinforce this, lawmakers on the committee asked about communications between the Trump legal team and Epstein's lawyers. It was noted in the original material that a key email showed Epstein was never banned from Mar-a-Lago, he was never a member, and was always a guest and friend of Donald Trump. The Department of Justice was withholding this document under claims of privilege. That email allegedly came from Epstein directly to Maxwell in 2009. Thus, when Maxwell had previously claimed she did not know anything about Trump's involvement, she may have known detailed information that contradicts those claims. Maxwell's family message insinuated that she knows where the documents are and could point investigators toward them. The hearing also highlighted how Bondi repeatedly failed to stick to the talking points provided by the Trump administration. She failed to simply say, "We can't comment. The president is focused on other issues." Instead, Bondi repeatedly dodged, attacked lawmakers, and floundered under pressure. Internal sources reportedly said Republicans saw her performance as so poor that Todd Blanche might replace her soon as Attorney General. This internal struggle, Bondi versus Blanche, was part of the backdrop to Maxwell's warning. Maxwell's message was in essence, be careful, I know what's happening, and I can still influence how this narrative unfolds. The hearing footage included exchanges where lawmakers pressed Bondi to unredact documents relating to Trump's relationship with Epstein. They asked if she would provide those files publicly. Bondi repeatedly called them privileged. When pressed, she denied that she could release the files or that the president was considering clemency. Behind the scenes, even commentators on the right acknowledged the strange implication of Maxwell needing clemency to testify about Trump's innocence. Independent podcasters asked if Trump's name was already exonerated. Why does she need clemency to talk about it? Some commentators even wondered aloud how powerful the people Trump is protecting might be, and whether Trump would rather go down with them than expose anything embarrassing. Amid this confusion, Democratic Congressman Walenshaw spoke out bluntly. Ghislaine Maxwell is a monster. She facilitated, aided, and embedded Epstein's crimes. She threatened the victims and the survivors. And today we did not get substantive answers that would advance our investigation into who else was involved. Walenshaw noted that Maxwell's post-deposition conduct was another episode in her campaign for clemency from President Trump. Walenshaw asked, why hasn't he ruled out clemency for Maxwell? That is the essence of Maxwell's warning. It was not about sympathy. It was not about justice. It was about leverage. By posting through family members that Trump should watch what his cabinet members say, Maxwell was signaling that she is watching every development. She knows where documents are hidden. She knows Trump's team is desperate to keep certain narratives buried, and she still believes she holds sway over how this unfolds. This is why her message came immediately after Bondi's remark about hoping she would die in prison, because that remark was off-script, emotional, and dangerous. It exposed vulnerability. It gave Maxwell a moment to remind Trump, stay in your lane or I will. We are anonymous. We do not forgive corruption. We do not forget complicity. And we are watching.